Hey everyone, TV's coverage. Hey everyone, you are tuning into AFTERBUZZ TV's coverage of America's Got Talent Live Shows 3 for Season 11. Stay tuned to talk about some of the best acts of the season.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the America's Got Talent Season 11 Live Shows 3 After Show. I am your host. My name is Dani Golub, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dani Golub. Back to our original Big Two here tonight. My co-host, Megan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Facebook at Meghan Boykoff.
So, as you noticed, we've gained and lost a few people over the course of America's Got Talent, but Megan and I were the original two, and we are back with you tonight, standing strong. We're going to talk about all the acts from tonight. I personally think tonight had some of the best acts
Strong night.
of the season, I think they kind of stacked the group for this evening. I think that they had the Olympics and they took a bit of a break with AGT, but I think they came back strong and they want to keep those ratings, lock it down, and keep people interested.
They did a good job.
They did a good job. Tonight was, when I looked at who was performing tonight, I was like, these are some of the best ones. These are like a bunch of golden buzzers.
Yes, a ton of people who I was waiting to see.
Totally.
Sure.
First up was Vander.
Someone that neither of us were waiting to see.
We weren't waiting to see him. I was actually kind of interested that they opened the show with him.
Get him out of the way.
Yes and no. I mean, he kind of gave, I call him my adult baby, which is kind of what he is. But he, as impressive as what he does is it just me, or am I less impressed by it now that I've watched Simone Biles in the Olympics? I mean, it's amazing, and he completely folds himself in half. But, in terms of contortion, we have Sophie Dossi, who I don't think really can be competed with in this competition in terms of that category.
Yeah.
And then just, after watching these Olympic gymnasts and even, the people on the trampoline and the divers, it's they fold themselves in half, too.
But can Simone Biles do that cool thing with her stomach?
The thing with the stomach is too much
It's
for me.
awful.
It really freaks me out. That's how he waves hello. He does it with his belly. Not my favorite. I think that he got a little caught up in the production aspect. They gave him this big pirate ship, and he was better when it was just hand balancing blocks and a rope from the ceiling. He got caught up in the act and kind of lost a little of his talent.
I feel I don't know whose choice that was, but
That's
the
true.
whole production of it, the set and the music, I think was placed there to make his act more impressive and exciting, because what he does, as cool as it is, it's kind of small.
That's true. With a one-person act, it's
Yeah.
Sophie has other elements, whereas his is just
he doesn't
him.
really. But even with the set and the music, I was not impressed. There was way too much peen. So much
I
peen.
agree. The outfit was a little risque. And the way that his
revealing.
body was contorted revealed a little much for my liking. I feel like I know more about Velo than I would like to. But again, we'll see if he gets the votes. I with only a few acts going through, with how strong some acts tonight were, I think it's going to be really cutthroat. And I'm not sure he's going to make it. But we'll see. You never know. America does some weird things with voting. I think that goes for any reality show. I always sometimes am surprised. I'm like, how is that person leaving and how is this person staying? So
Maybe
we'll see.
America likes the peen.
Maybe they like Velo. Maybe they like waving with your stomach. Some strange things. Anyway, next up is Ronnie Martin, who's a 62-year-old singer. She's very talented. I will give that to her. She sang Lean On Me, which I love that song. I mean, it's very campy, feel-good music. I think she was good. She didn't blow me out of the park. What do you think?
Exactly. I was not blown away. I kind of felt like she was a once very famous singer returning to the stage for a comeback performance.
I could see that.
That's how it struck me. I did not like the arrangement. It made it sound like everything was flat in the beginning. The music, it was very bizarre. I
feel like sometimes with me, I don't really know. I don't have a fine ear for music, and so sometimes I don't know if maybe I'm just not mature enough in the vocal department.
You either like it or you don't. You almost have a better ear for music in a sense, because you just know if it sounds good or not,
right,
and picking it apart.
You've been in this theater scene and done singing of your own, so it's harder for me sometimes. But I feel like I didn't want to go download it right now. I think with a competition like this, you have to want to play it in the car on the way home. And I wasn't crazy about it. I do think she's very, very talented, and I think that she has a potential career in music. But we'll see if she makes it through tonight. Like I said, the show didn't open up necessarily as strong as it closed, but we'll get to some of those acts in a bit. I think the show definitely took a climb with Bart Rocket and his sister, Kate, I believe her name is, or Brooklyn.
You know, I'm very confused about the whole naming
I think they called her.
situation.
I thought they called her Kate at one point, but then the sign said Brooklyn.
Caden. Yes, her name's Brooklyn.
Oh,
her name's Brooklyn.
Caden Bart Rocket.
Bart Rocket is the boy. I thought it was Kate
Sorry.
and Bart. It was very weird.
Sorry, I should be better about that because I do believe he's coming on our show next week. I will get your name right, I promise. I'm very bad with names. That's my own problem. I'll work on that. Anyway, they were amazing. Side note of anybody's name, unbelievable.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Simon said it in a word. Showmanship. Their showmanship for how young they are is incredible. I thought Caden, he was a little bit better with the scripted stuff, with it coming off naturally. The other girl was like, and this is my sand. I'm like, hey, I know this is scripted,
I thought
but
she
like, they're 10.
she did a good job memorizing her lines.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest, like I
of
was in a
course.
school play one time at that age, and I just like stood on the stage with my eyes really big, and so she just got up in front of what did like 11.2 million people tune in every week to watch this. So props to her.
Yes,
plus all the
absolutely.
people that were there in the Dolby Theater, which is a huge space. So he was in this like handcuffed situation on stage with the saws coming at him, and then magically he like traveled through time and space and landed up in a tiny box, which, by the way, he's kind of a contortionist too. How does he get in there?
I'm really not sure. I thought it was all very visually stimulating. I wasn't super entertained until the very end when I was like, oh, holy crap, he's out of the box.
I did say that. I was like, are they going to get to it? Sometimes I worry
Yeah.
with magicians specifically. It's like the punchline is always at the end, whereas I feel like with singers or with even comedians, you kind of get punchlines or big moments along the way. And the magicians, you kind of have to wait for it. So I feel like sometimes they might lose people. But this was a big enough ending for sure for me. It was awesome. It really was. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they've done any of the things they've done so far.
I still want to know how she was cut in half.
I do too.
That blew my freaking
And her legs
mind.
were moving and her top was moving, so I don't know how they did that. Simon called him the real life Harry Potter, which I thought was really accurate. Like the whole persona, they were wearing those cute matching shoes. I love them. They were like Harry Potter and Hermione, but related. I do love them, and I really think they should make it through. I really hope we see more of them. I had a blast watching them. I honestly think they could have like their own Disney show where they're magician kids, like Wizards of Waverly Place, but magic, not wizards. Maybe they're kind of too similar. I don't know, but I feel like they have like the energy, and they're actually really, really good at what they do.
Yeah, they're both great performers.
I had a lot of fun watching them. Next up was Lincoln Bridge, who, to be honest, they're incredible, and I love them, and I hope we see more of them. But this, I don't think, was my favorite performance of theirs. I think in the past, every performance of theirs I've cried, and I didn't cry this week, which I feel like is a bit of an issue.
Because it's easy for Dani to cry. So if you don't make her cry, it's your fault.
All the time. I'm going to start crying right now, thinking about them leaving.
Yeah, right? I was excited for them. Their first performance I thought was pretty good. Then when they came back, they really wowed me. So I was like, okay, like they're on the up and up for me. But like Simon said, it was a little bit of a letdown. It started out and then continued to be a little too pitchy. And I found my mind wandering, which, you know, you don't want during a performance. Not quite as captivating as last week.
Right. There was something that you pointed out that Simon said while we were watching, is that Simon said, we are going to choose a better song next week.
Yes.
Which I thought was very interesting that Simon is referring to him with them as a we.
Because he has said in the past, you next week or like in the future, you like when you're off the show, you should do this. But this time he said, we.
So that means he's invested personally with this group, which I think is a big deal for them. Just little things like that go a long way with someone like Simon. And I wonder now that Simon is so personally invested with America's Got Talent, not just Britain, not just the whole franchise, but specifically America, how the winner of this season will be propelled forward compared to past winners of AGT. Because I feel like past winners of AGT aren't as big necessarily as Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, people who have won Simon's other shows. So I wonder if maybe it's a singer, because like Howie said, the singing competition this season is specifically better, and I think that is because Simon is there. If Simon will kind of take this person under his wing and move forward with them. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
I'd be interested to know. But I do hope Lincoln Bridge gets the votes they deserve. I would like to see them come back with a better song choice in the future. And someone like that, with a group like that, I feel like Simon would actually like want to approve of the song next time before they sing it, even though I know that's like kind of cheating. But I feel like they'd be like, he would like slip a note, be like, can we make sure they choose a good song this time? Because they're
he's rooting
amazing.
for them.
He really is. Next up was Alla and Daniel. the mom dancer and 9-year-old son dancer. We learned a little bit more about them this time. We kind of didn't really get their backstory. So the mom and dad actually own a dance studio, and Daniel started dancing with his mom. Howie actually gave them an X.
Yeah,
What
that
did you
was
think?
aggressive. I mean, I feel so bad, and I feel like both of us went, ooh, like Howie, wow, because he's
Yeah.
kind of the nice one, and he's the little boy. Daniel's just a kid, but he made a really good point. It was the same-ish, different day.
Yeah. I mean, even down to like the moves that he was doing, we even noticed.
It was really cute at
first
and then he
time.
kept doing it, and I was like, maybe he was just thrown by the ex. This probably wasn't their fault, but I really didn't like the set design mixed with the song choice.
And the background dancers were a bit distracting.
Yeah, it like none of it went together. None of it fit together. It was not technically like the dancing was not technically impressive enough.
And when there are dancers as the focus, to have so many background dancers felt like it took away from the spotlight.
Maybe they were trying to show how it would be a Vegas show.
Maybe. That's actually very true, because, you know, we always have to
wouldn't
bring
just
it
be the
back
two
to
of
that.
them.
Yeah, that's true. Simon did this thing where then he X'd Howie's comment, which I think Simon needs a bit of a lesson on when and how to use the X's, because
Simon can do whatever the heck he wants.
he really can, but my thought was like if someone like looked away and then looked back, they'd see 2 X's.
Yes,
you know. So I
yeah.
think that that's a little iffy. Nick did clarify it, which I thought was good, but we both kind of felt really awkward at the end because the conversation between the judges and Nick got just like kind of uncomfy, and Nick was like, "All right, well, good luck. Next up."
Yeah, he was like, you guys did good. I was
Yeah,
like,
bye. Moving on. I mean, I don't know how Howie X'd a 9-year-old. I guess you have to be, like we said, objective. Like, no matter if it's a kid or an adult. Like, if you compare someone like Katie Lynn, the singer, she could be compared to Ronnie Martin, the singer, and they are equally talented individuals, no matter if she's 12 or 62.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of have to, as much as it's difficult as it would be to buzz a 9-year-old, I think Howie, if he felt that way, did the right thing. But, you know, to each his own. Next up, our boy, Blake Voigt. You killed it, bro. We love you, Blake. Round of a freaking applause. That was amazing. I literally texted him right away after. He hasn't responded. I think he's probably busy. I'm fangirling over here. We are freaking out. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yes, in my notes I just wrote, what? And then I underlined and rewrote it because like halfway, he wasn't done after the first trick. There was the second trick with the blue jay and the feathers, and so I had to
mind
write
is
it
blown.
again. Yes, 10 stars.
I tried explaining this trick to someone, and I did a terrible job explaining it to one of our engineers because I was like, it was like this, and then there was this happening. A million things happened in this trick.
Yeah.
Moral of the story, Howie, said do a face card. Heidi picked a face card, a specific one, and the card ended up in an egg that Simon was holding.
In an egg, and not even like an empty shell with a card
No,
filled up.
he cracked it.
It had a yolk.
He cracked the egg. Blake grabbed it from him, opened it without fiddling around with his wrist or anything. I'm very careful with that with magicians.
Yeah.
He was very clean. Whether there was sleight of hand happening there or not, it was clean. And then he had some random audience member.
Not just that. That's what's extra amazing about it. He didn't just say, you, random audience member. He said, no, you, random audience member. Choose a different random audience member.
Yeah.
It's like twice removed.
Credibility here with Blake Voigt. He doesn't mess around. He also give him major props for the magic. I was gonna say magic and major at the same time. Major magic props for his comedy skills. Like he was funny.
He's very funny.
He's really funny.
How do you live with that many allergies? I just don't know what I would
I'm
do.
allergic to peanuts and I'm allergic to dairy, so like I can like kind of imagine, but like all of those 103,
know.
that's too much.
Too many. Sorry,
I
Blake.
can't go out to eat. That must be so hard. Well, at least he's a great magician. He has that going for him.
And he's engaged, so, it's working
Yeah,
out.
congrats on your engagement, by the way. We saw that on the internet. We're going to be really creepy right now.
We look
Anyway, now that we're being super weird, you were amazing. I'm going to personally vote for Blake, not only because he, was here, but because he was amazing. And side note, shout out to him. He's performing at the Magic Castle if you're in LA and you can somehow get access to that. I'm going to go see him. Don't know about y'all, but you should try.
Hell yeah.
Vote for Blake. That's all I have to say. Not that I'm being unbiased or anything, but I'm going to be voting for him. So I'm also going to be voting for the next group, big time. I vote a lot. I take voting very seriously. there was like 3 weeks ago, I fell asleep and I woke up and it was past the voting time and I almost threw my phone. I was so upset. I do it with The Voice too. I take voting very seriously because
Dani is very serious.
because if I don't vote, then I can't complain if my favorite gets out.
No, I appreciate that a lot.
You know?
I do. My mom is always like, how could they go home? And I'm like, well, did you vote?
No.
No.
Exactly.
Okay.
That is why I take voting very seriously. I have all the apps. I have like the Voice app.
She does. I can confirm this.
I play along. I have my own buzzers.
She has her own buzzer, not literally, but she'll be like, I would have buzzed that.
Yeah, I asked someone tonight.
She'll like look at the apps and vote while we're watching.
Yeah.
She's stalking them all on social media. Look at how many followers Grace has, like while it's happening.
We'll talk about that in a
Very
minute. Grace has
invested.
like 800,000 followers.
It's unreal.
Anyway, we love everyone, but we'll be voting for a few. Anyway, Edgar family, gonna be voting for them hardcore tonight.
Yeah.
They were amazing. When they say raise the bars for the live shows, this group did it. They slayed tonight. They sang I'll Come Running. Is that the title of the song?
I don't know.
Just to See You Again. Anyway, they were amazing. They sounded really good. Heidi said it was the best performance of the night / their best performance.
Yeah.
Simon said it was his favorite of the night. They rose to the occasion. Like, that's a cover of a song that I would go listen to in the car ride home.
Absolutely. I thought their image makeovers were fantastic. Not like they weren't a beautiful family before.
I was sitting there saying, like, I want to be in this family. They're so cool.
Yes.
They're awesome.
Dad could go as a solo artist. I mean, their harmonies really tonight were
Amazing.
chills. The set, the performance, they like really told a story. It was incredible.
Everything was awesome. They're the most gorgeous family. They're gorgeous talents. Like, everything about them is perfect. So much love. Like, what a beautiful story. Like, taking something that maybe a lot of people would have thought was something hard and turning it into something beautiful is what more could, they want. I'm definitely going to be voting for them. I really want to see what else they could bring because I think that they are a group that has stepped it up every single week that we've seen them.
Did we say their name? The Edgar family
Edgar
band?
family. Yeah, I did it when we started. I think that they've stepped it up every week, which I think is sometimes hard because, like with, Ala and Daniel, they said it was a little repetitive, and that does happen, but I feel like a lot of the ones that were good this week were great because they stepped it up.
Yes.
The ones that maybe we thought were subpar this week were probably still really good if we had seen them for the first time. But maybe it was because it was a little repetitive, I don't know, like
definitely.
maybe with like Velo Vaher, we've seen kind of that. So I don't know, I think the Edgar family was amazing. Next up, Julia Scotty, the amazing comedian. She kind of talked about being single and spooning, and she wanted to. The only way she'd want to date someone is if they were a prisoner in Minnesota, where she never had to see them except for once a year on their birthday. What do you think of her?
Here's my problem with her performance. There weren't any levels in her delivery, so I felt like everything she was saying was delivered like a punchline.
Joke, yeah.
No, but not even like everything she said was an actual joke. Just the way, the tone in which she delivered it was like everything was a punchline. So like it was very one level to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like her as a human being, and I actually think her like little package before was almost funnier than her stand-up piece. I think she's hilarious.
Are you gonna watch me on America's Got Talent? When? Soon.
It's a good answer though because like it was off for a few weeks. I had no idea what was coming on.
She looked beautiful.
She looked amazing tonight. She really did. Whatever the hair and makeup situation she did looked awesome. But yeah, so I think she's really funny. I think she'd be like an amazing writer. I feel like because she has a lot of good content. But I don't think tonight was necessarily her best performance, but I don't think she really deserves to go home for it. I feel like she has more to bring.
Do you think she'll make it through?
I don't know. I think she's going to be one of the 3 that we see standing on the stage tomorrow needing to be dunked and saved.
Yeah.
I see that for her.
Yeah,
I think that. And I think that either the judges, I don't know if America will save her. It's going to be iffy with Julia. I personally would vote for her because I have liked what she's done in the past. But with the live shows for a show like this, I feel like a lot of people like tune in for the first time on the live shows sometimes. Mm-hmm. And like,
That's not the impression that
was
you
that the best performance of hers? No, but I know what she's capable of. You know,
and she's a fun name.
She is, and I think her whole story is really cool. Like how she kind of like pursued her dream later in life, and I think that like sends a really good message to everyone.
Totally,
so,
live your best life, y'all.
Yeah, whenever you can. It's never too late, Julia Scotty. Moving on to our next amazing singer. We had amazing singers tonight. This was like the night of great singers. Brian Justin Crum. Woo! He is unbelievable. Let's hear it from you first.
He's captivating.
He really is.
He really tells a story. With every word has intention. I probably have said this before, and so has the rest of America, but he's very Adam Lambert-esque
Yeah.
in his tone and in his performance. But I thought he was very polished and professional, and it just was, I would watch that show.
Yeah, and you could definitely see his Broadway background in his performance tonight. And
Yeah.
I don't think he hasn't had one bad note, much less a bad performance yet in this competition. Like, he is really on point, and I think that his training and, years of practice coming up to this are really evident now at this point in the competition. He's not cracking under pressure. He doesn't look nervous. He looks calm, cool, and collected and delivers every time. Mm-hmm. He's amazing. He's saying, Can you feel it coming in the air tonight? Great cover of that song. Simon said a good point about him making every song his own.
Yes.
I've heard that song, and so has everyone, thousands of times, but I felt like I was hearing it for the first time tonight.
Yes, I concur.
It was amazing, and again, that's one where I actually already looked it up on YouTube because I want to listen to it again. Like, he's amazing. I'm for sure going to listen again, for sure going to vote for him. I feel
He'll
like...
make it through.
Yeah, if he doesn't make it through, it's blasphemy. I don't know what to say. Then that means people aren't voting because he is amazing. I follow him online too. I went and watched a couple of his videos on YouTube. He's extremely, extremely talented and has a lot of views on YouTube and stuff too.
If for whatever reason he didn't make it through tonight, that would so not be the end of the line for him.
No. I think this guy's a
base.
really, and I think weirdly enough, America's Got Talent, usually this doesn't happen, but I feel like it's going to come down to a few singers maybe in the end,
Yeah.
I feel like I really could see him making it to the end, and I could see Grace, I could see Katie Lynn, I could see a lot of the people we have singing going through, making it very, very far in this competition.
I agree.
Next up is Malevo, who is a Vegas show already. I just don't know if it was a Vegas show that I would necessarily want to see. They kind of do everything from flipping and tapping to drums and, they kind of do everything. And I think their past performances have been a bit better for me personally than tonight's was. I know that they got that golden buzzer, but I don't know if tonight, they stepped up to the plate for a live show.
I mean, here's the problem with the performance.
Megan was pretty upset about something.
They were all handed drums. And they kind of danced around the drums.
And held the drumsticks.
And then just pushed the drums off the stage. I was so... There was very intense drumming in the background.
It wasn't them.
None of it was played by them. I was like...
Yeah.
No.
That was a little rough. I will be honest. I noticed it because you're like, wait, are they drumming? And then I looked and you're like, no, they never drummed.
No drumming happening.
They tapped. They did tap.
Yeah, their movements are very precise and
they're
exciting.
all on with each other. And they all kind of look the same. They're very uniform, and I think they're awesome. And I know people that would for sure go see something like this. It's very high energy, very exciting, lots of dance. You could add
sexy.
Yeah, definitely. You could add fire and all. You know what I mean? I feel like they could make this into a big performance. They've done that. They've had jump ropes and whips and everything. So I feel like they'll make it through just because of the production value of something like this is for sure Vegas.
Yeah. I feel like
honestly,
there's a Blue Man Group, but darker and handsome.
Yeah, and the Magic Mike meets Blue Man Group.
Oh my God, that's what it is.
They're really funny, but Simon was kind of I feel like we're about 2 years away from you being in Vegas regardless of if you win the show or not, which I kind of think is true. Like I said, they're already a Vegas show.
Yeah. That's what they need to be.
Yeah, and that's...
So many of these acts aren't.
Yeah, that's true. And so many of the acts I really like aren't. I'm not going to hate on them at all, but the Edgar family, they're amazing. But would I pay to see them in Vegas? No, but would I buy their album? Absolutely.
Yes.
So I think I think maybe for the $1 million prize, yeah, I would give it to them. You know what I mean? But you do have to kind of weigh here.
The outcome of the show
is a year residency in Vegas, which is why I think magicians are so successful and the ventriloquists and, even the dogs and everything. People go to Vegas to see some weird stuff. And Malevo...
to do some weird stuff.
Yeah, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, Malevo is the kind of thing that stays in Vegas.
Yeah, the Edgar family, I want to come home with me. Don't stay in Vegas.
Exactly. Please don't stay in Vegas. Don't go to Vegas. They're too cute. Anyway... They can go to Vegas if they win. I'll give them permission. Moving on. Next up, we were really, really, really looking forward to Passing Zone. I've been looking forward to seeing more from them since we last saw them when they did the funny, juggling over... They've done multiple, really dangerous, death-defying things, which Simon actually said he wanted to see more of. They kind of did something a little bit for us that was disappointing tonight. Megan literally said, oh, she's going down because she's very sad.
I'm very upset.
She goes, this is what she says. She goes, if this is the whole act, I'm going to be really pissed.
I couldn't believe that when they were over, I was like,
she's
that
down,
was not the
very
whole
sad.
thing. That was not. That was not a show. Literally anyone could have done that.
Yeah.
Anyone could have juggled their weight and made them turn at a certain time.
So I do think it was like a little impressive that they didn't crash into each other at all, because I would have made Howie and Mel smash into each other. But basically, they kind of put Howie, Mel, and Heidi on ropes and swung them back and forth from each other to each other, and then like threw balls in the mix. And
it was not juggling. It was not magic.
Juggling.
It wasn't. Okay, it was kind of funny.
It
But
was
wasn't-
comedy.
It wasn't funny at the end when I realized there was going to be no juggling.
Yeah, I think that they've done better. I know that they've done better. I think they can do better in the future. I don't really know who advised them to do something like this on the live shows. Like, they've done such dangerous things, and people want to see dangerous stuff. Like Deadly Games made it through because of how dangerous the knife throwing at the wife thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Watching that live is, you kind of like gasp, and especially with what happened last week or last live show where the wife hit the husband with the fire blazing arrow. I feel like people were like looking for more danger after that kind of went viral on the internet, and Passing Zone was kind of our danger act of the night. Mm-hmm. They've done like juggling tasers and saws and fire above Howie's face, and they, swung. They like did something with Heidi like upside down last time. There was a lot of danger in their past acts and comedy mixed with juggling, so they kind of had all the elements. Whereas tonight, I feel like it was just comedy.
You know what? They dropped the ball.
They really did. Ching.
I'm the worst. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they threw the performance a little bit, unfortunately.
I feel like the production just made such a shtick out of the whole, everyone but Simon's
juggle.
going to be in the act. I get it. Wasn't not enough. Very disappointed.
Yeah, I'm almost hoping that they, maybe make it through. Or I feel like they're going to be another one on the chopping block in the middle, one of those middle three that we have to dunk and save tomorrow. I can definitely see them being there because I know people know that they have potential, so I think they can get votes. But do I think that they did enough tonight to beat out people like, I don't know, Grace, the Edgar family, Blake, Brian, Justin, Crum? Like, no, not really. Even Lincoln Bridge and Bart Rocket, or Kate and Bart Rocket and his sister. Like, I feel like all of those I just named are for sure shoo-ins. Compared to this is like on the fence for me.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Which leads us to someone who is not on the fence by any means. I think she is, if not winning this competition, making the final few. Her name is Grace Vander Waal, and she's a 12-year-old singer-songwriter, plays the ukulele. She sang another original tonight, which, brave, to do originals on a reality competition. To do one is unheard of. To do two is, I don't think that's ever happened before.
Yeah, because people want to hear things that they're familiar with. Think of all of the other covers that every other singer did on this episode tonight. But she sang a song. It got stuck on our heads.
Both of our heads, we were singing
after the show tonight.
We really were.
That really says something.
It
for
resonates.
A 12-year-old songwriter.
It does. And Simon was like, it doesn't matter that there were a few moments where you were pitchy. It doesn't matter that you maybe messed up here or there. We're all going to remember this as the first time that you ever performed live. Like, she, I don't necessarily agree with it, but Howie was like, you're bigger than Taylor Swift. Like, you're the next. I don't necessarily think that, but I think she is like the next big thing. This girl, and I know I said it before, already has like 800,000 followers on Instagram because of this show, which is pretty much unheard of, because like I don't know if you look at like the people from The Voice, like the past winners have like 80,000, 100,000. And I know that doesn't necessarily gauge how talented you are,
right?
But it does show how big you are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's huge.
How
right
many
now.
people are watching and interested?
She has as like many followers as like the Olympic gymnasts that just perform. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, global scale. And her video on Facebook got like over 120 million views. And like Howie said, the biggest names in music have been coming up to him when they've seen him and been like, who is this Grace girl and where can we, work with her?
The way that Simon was saying, that affected way that she sings, it's not an issue because it's very her. And I feel like I was listening to her and she sounded like a mixture of Regina Spektor, who sings very affected
Florence
and people
Welch.
love her. Yes. Taylor Swift and Ingrid Michaelson. She's like a beautiful little blend of like some of the biggest voices.
She really is. And I think as much as she is a blend of everyone else, she's herself.
Totally.
You know what I mean? She is so unique, so cute, and still so like humble and 12, which I
Yes.
love because I feel like she could be, because of the blast and fame all of a sudden, like, could be very, like, affected, you know? But she's still so charming and sweet, and I think that she's for sure going to get votes for that reason.
I can't believe this is the second time that she performed on the show. Like,
Right.
she performed, was that the first week that she got the Golden Buzzer? The first or second week?
second week.
And we have waited all of this time on pins and needles. Like, I never forgot her name. There are
Nope.
lots of other performers that I was like, that one act that does that one thing that I want to see. No. I knew Grace.
Vander Waal, yeah. Everyone does. I feel like she's like becoming. People know her name and don't even know where they know it from. You know, people are
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I saw that girl with the ukulele on YouTube," and I'm like, "Dude, she's America's Got Talent." Like, I feel like she's like on a global scale right now, and it must be insane for her. She said, you know, she keeps feeling like she's gonna wake up from a dream. Like, it's surreal. It must be, because especially because she went from, you know, performing once and then to like not have to perform again for like months to come back and do a live show. That must be really nerve-wracking for a
Jeez,
12-year-old. A lot of pressure with all these people now watching
Yeah,
her.
like, did I deserve this to skip all of those steps? And here I am
Yeah.
again. I better perform.
I mean, yeah, she's incredible. She's cute. She's talented.
We love ya.
We love you, Grace. Please come on our show. She's spectacular, and I think she has the ability to win this whole thing. What do you think?
I totally agree. She has that spot.
Yeah.
When
Okay.
Simon Cowell calls you the next Taylor Swift,
Yeah, and
you
like
can guarantee you're going somewhere.
I almost think it was like good that Simon gave a little bit of constructive criticism tonight, because I felt like that meant he was like coaching her. It almost felt
Yes.
like, you know, when you watch The Voice and they have coaches, it feels like Simon's like coaching her right now. Like, he's making her his little prodigy. And like, as much as like Simon cares about a lot of these acts, I think when Simon sees someone with like, he's a businessman, when he sees someone with like money potential, like, you know what I mean? Like, this girl is gonna be a big thing. She already is. Like, I feel like she
Yeah.
probably already has an agent. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
for sure.
she's huge. And I think I mean, if just her 800,000 followers voted for her, I think she'd be set. But yeah, anyway, she's for sure gonna make it through. I'd be very surprised if she didn't. I'm
Gotta
excited.
vote,
yeah,
vote.
gotta vote. I'm excited to like see where her career goes.
Yeah, we'll be following it.
I'm for sure gonna follow it. Like, after this show, I even if she doesn't win, like, I want to know what she's doing and like where she's gonna go. And I feel like she's gonna come out with an album of all of, because she has originals. We've heard 2 of them, but she has like, she said it's just a glimpse like into her head. You know,
She's like Lord in that way.
Yeah,
like a
she
very
is.
young girl. Obviously, a very
Lord was
different
16,
sound.
but-
Lord was 6, and she made an incredible album. I feel like Grace is someone who we could see really cool things from at such a young age.
And I was just trying to think like what I was doing when I was 12. Like, I was not that mature.
embarrassing.
I was like, couldn't even like.
I was eating marshmallow fluff out of the jar, so like I don't know.
With your whole hand. Like, literally,
Both hands.
I was like running around like playing soccer, breaking all my bones. Like, I wasn't doing anything productive.
Better than what I was doing.
But yeah, anyway, she's amazing. Can't wait to see more of her. I feel like they really found a gem with this one. Favorite, I mean, I think besides Grace, but like favorite and least favorite of the night.
Besides Grace, okay.
I mean, I feel like, I guess you
she's
can
a
include
shoo
Grace.
in.
Yeah,
No,
you
we can cut that out.
My favorite is Gotta Go to Blake. Not just because I met him, I swear I'm not biased with just the meeting people, because I think that other people tonight were incredible. Like Brian, Justin Crum was a close second, but Blake was by far my favorite of the night. I'm still mind-boggled. I'm going to go to sleep tonight thinking about how the heck he did that. And my least favorite, unfortunately, I think was Velo Vaher. Kind of lost me, a little inappropriate in ways that he didn't realize. And he lost me. It just didn't do it. Like, I can't see that being a show I would ever want to go see in Vegas.
Yeah.
You know? What about you?
I think, for the sake of being different, I want to say something different, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to. Velo Vaher was definitely my least
Yeah.
favorite. I think right after him would be The Passing Zone, but
Just because-
I was laughing and entertained for The Passing
You
Zone
were, yeah.
until I realized that was really all that they were doing.
Yeah.
But for Velo Vaher, he made me uncomfortable, so that's why he gets the lowest of the low.
Sorry,
And then
Velo.
as far as favorite other than Grace, okay, so I wrote 5 stars for Blake. No,
And then there's hearts.
6 stars for Blake and then 5 hearts for Brian. So I'm not
So
really
what's
sure
better,
what that
5
scale
stars
is.
or 6 hearts?
You know what? I think I have to go with Blake because when I have nothing to say, which is so rare, I just wrote what?
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love magic. I really do. And like, Blake is someone who's so taught. He makes up tricks for other people and like worked with David Copperfield and like lived on David Blaine's couch, and like I'm glad that he's finally having his moment. And Simon kind of was like, I feel like I got to know you tonight, which I liked. We got to see his personality. I guess Simon thought he was a little boring in the past, but I just think that was because he didn't really get to shine himself. I think now he was more comfortable. It was live, and I love to see someone like Meghan Trainor, who wrote music for other people for a long time, is now her own star. I feel like that's like with Blake. He did magic and created tricks for people for so long. He worked with Penn and Teller and worked with them. And so, like, getting to see someone like him be in the forefront and have his moment is, like, a beautiful thing to me.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for him, and hopefully he makes it through. I think he's my favorite magician in the competition so far. I know we have the football player whose name is escaping me, John Dorembus, who's also really good. But I was watching that episode with Blake, and Blake was like, I know how he did that. So I was like... Oh, okay. Anyway.
Did he tell you?
No, he won't tell anything. And I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Part of me is always like, I need to know. But I also am like, no, I love it. I want it to be like what Simon says. He's like, I believe in magic. And like, that's magic.
Do you believe in magic?
I do. Anyway, that is all we have for this week.
That's the show.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
So glad that we're back after a few weeks.
We're
it's so
back.
Nice to be
we
back
missed
in here.
everyone. We are for sure going to be back next week. I think we may have a special guest. I think Caden, Bart Rocket, and his sister Brooklyn may be coming. We'll see. But anyway, make sure you tune in. I'm your host. My name is Dani Golub. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dani Golub.
Meghan Boykoff, find me on Twitter and Facebook, and go vote.
Yeah, please vote. Don't send our favorites home. This is in your hands,
Or
people.
your favorites.
Or your favorites, or ours. Ours too. Anyway, thank you guys. We'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.